And welcome back. The process now underway to seat 12 jurors and 5 alternates in the Adam Montgomery murder trial.
The court has selected 27 potential jurors who will return tomorrow for the next phase. Former prosecutor Patricia LaFrance is here with us again. Welcome back. Good to see you. So the pool here started with about 200 people or so. We're down to just 27 at this point. So lawyers will ask their own voir dire questions, as you know. So what kinds of things will those potential jurors be asked to talk about or answer?
So generally the state and the defense will further expand on maybe some of the voir dire questions that were already asked to find out, they want to make sure that this potential juror is not biased in any way. So they just want to kind of dig in deeper, or if there's something that they saw perhaps on their questionnaire that they want to ask about that might potentially influence their judgment in this case.
And once opening statements begin in this trial, how significant will those statements be for the jury, since they cannot be counted as evidence?
Right. So they're not considered evidence, but again, it's an opportunity for both sides to kind of present their version of the case, their theory of the case. So, the prosecutor gets to go first, and really those opening statements, they can really grab a jury. If you give them something that, here's what this case is about, makes you connect with them. That's so important, to connect with that jury, off the bat. And then again, for the defense too, they get their opening statements and they can say, well, wait a minute, here's what the prosecutor says, but you're going to hear, something different. So it's an opportunity to really make that initial connection with the jury.
And witnesses here, potential witnesses, because now we know that the list has been scaled back from nearly 200 names to start. Now there are just 50 to 55 names on this witness list. So why the reduction? And that appears to be somewhat of a drastic change, yeah?
Well, a lot of those witnesses were keepers of the records. So a lot of times, you have records that maybe both sides want to put in for whatever reason. So there's really no reason to call the keeper of the records if both sides agree, yes, these are, say phone records. They are what they are. There's no disputing that they are the phone records of a certain person, or, something like that. So again, those keeper of the records, I think there were upwards of 30 something people listed as keeper of the records. And then there might be some witnesses who are just repetitive, that you already have maybe 3 or 4 witnesses testifying to the same exact thing, and you don't need another 5 witnesses. So yeah, as it gets closer, the prosecution generally will whittle down their witness list.
And Patricia, once the jury is seated, they won't be sitting around very long. They'll be taken to a number of locations in Manchester that are involved with the case, including search locations. How important are those jury views in a high-profile case like this one?
Well, it gives the jury, you can sit on a jury and you can hear somebody testify about a location. You can even see pictures, but to really get an idea of maybe what an area looks like, the length of a room, or the distance from one place to another, you really can't understand that until you go to the actual scene. So that's why views can be important. And of course, both the prosecution and the defense will point out maybe some items that they want the jury to particularly know. If there is a certain distance between 2 bedrooms, say, for example, in an apartment, or the location of a piece of evidence in relation to another piece of evidence. So that's something that they may point out and say, just keep that in mind when you hear testimony later on in the trial about that particular piece of evidence.
Okay, Patricia LaFrance, former prosecutor, thank you again for your time today. I'm sure we'll be seeing you soon as this trial goes through the process. Thank you.